I am going to give it a second because just to make sure that it's working. And I'm tagging Michael. I'm supposed to tag Michael and everyone else in the group. So I am here to talk about the origin. Sounds kind of sci-fi, but I promise you it's not. So I want to start out by with you. And this quote came from Muhammad Ali. To be a great champion, you must believe you are the best. If you are not, pretend you are. So powerful. So, as I was remembering, I remember one of my biggest and favorite game when I was little, when I was a kid, is the game of pretending. The pretend game. When I was a kid, I probably lived in the safest neighborhood because I remember I used to be able to run on the field, and it's like from daytime all the way till night, like nobody's business. And there was always these kids, I always thought myself as, somewhat of a leader. I am, put it that way. So there are always these kids who follow me around and they kind of just follow my lead. And so I got really good at pretending game. And I remember my dad actually had bought us one of those chalkboard, and we would place it at home, and I would pretend that I am a teacher. So I would set these students in my classroom, and I would be using the chalkboard. I would be teaching them stuff. So I'm really used to in pretending, and so I invite all my friends to come over, and I would take out these word book. I would teach them vocabularies. But after my car accident, actually my ability to pretend actually to get to the next level, it was up to the mastery level. It was a result of a number of different things, and those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I really saw myself differently, and I didn't want to be seen differently. And I kind of didn't want to disappoint my parents. So I really pretended that, I am this strong person. I never cry. Even the night after the surgery, I would come out and I would sit in the dark and having tears, holding on to my legs, but I would not cry. And I was just holding on to it. And I didn't want my friends to know that, I am different because the way I look and the way I walk. But most of all, I was really good at pretending because I didn't see the way that other kids, I didn't like the way that other kids are looking at me. So I kind of just pretend, you know what? I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to acknowledge that you saw me differently. And therefore, if I don't acknowledge you, then you don't exist. So I was really down. I was master at pretending. And so, you know how sometimes when you hear a lie, you hear someone telling you a lie so well and so good to the perfectionist, but you didn't realize that it was a lie because they tell it so well. And because of that, you started to believe that the lie is the truth. So I was really a great champion in telling myself the biggest lie of all time. So I kept on putting these masks that I wear as a strong person. I wear my smile everywhere I go. There's no boyfriend, no problem. Who needs a boyfriend when you can take care of everything yourself? You're self-sufficient. Come on, be realistic. I can screw up a light bulb, no problem. I can fix my own computer. That piece of cake. Even if I can, even if I can, and there's a even if I can't do something, there's always these professionals that I can hire to work for me. So I didn't need anyone in my life, and all I need was a good education, a solid income, and a good retirement plan. That was my idea. So one day I was sitting at a friend's wedding a couple of years ago, and she invited me to her wedding. I went into her room, and I saw her dress and she was describing her dress to me. It was the most beautiful things that ever. And it was hanging on a mannequin. And so I was listening to her and describing how beautiful that dress is. So I was sitting there and I was listening to her. And then during the ceremony, she was walking down the aisle. And even before that, I was there in her room. And as she was describing her wedding dress to me, her mom was standing on the side with her, and they were just talking, they were laughing, smiling, and I really enjoyed that moment. And when we got to the ceremony, I was sitting down, and because I was one of her best friends, so I got invited to sit closer to the front of the room, and I was turning and watching her walking down the aisle with her dad, and she had her arm out, and they were just walking, and she had a smile on her, was happy, her mom was smiling, and I was sitting there observing. And suddenly I just broke down in tears because I was imagining that how happy my parents would have been if that was me. Um, so I saw her walking down the aisle with her dad, and her mom was really happy, and I just got emotional. And can you imagine that moment? You're thinking, why can this, all this, be me? And can you imagine how proud my parents would have been if that was me? Um, so I got really good at pretending that I'm this big, strong person who never been hurt, who's who doesn't come in and save me because I got myself, and I don't need anyone. I have a good education, I have a steady income, and I do have a good retirement plan. So life is perfect, right? Just the way it is. It is perfect. And that's how I pretended. But here's the thing, in life, you don't get what you want, you become what you believe. So if you believe that you are strong and that you've never been hurt all in your life, you probably will become this toughest person you ever possibly know. And you would never bend, you would never fall, and you would never quit. You're probably being seen as the strongest person of the whole entire world. And if you believe that you are the kindest person and with the softest heart, are you going to show up in the world caring for others? You have a lot of compassion and love for others. You may cry a lot, even watching, Beauty and the Beast, like I do. But we don't become what we want, we become what we believe. So, of all the years that I was developing my pretending skill, there was one really good thing that came out of all of this. And that is that I believe courage that came out of all this pretending. I believe I am this courageous person who can take on the world at any given time and save the world and our humanity. That's what I believe in. Where did I get that idea? I don't know. But I remember I had to travel 5,000 miles and track through 26 miles of the trail. So when I returned from Machu Picchu, I realized that, for the longest time, I was pretending to be this person I am not. I'm not strong. I don't have the best job in the world. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have any kids who is going to take my share of money and buy a very luxury car to drive around in town, which might be a good thing. I also realized that I don't belong to the formula the, that everyone else is given to. And I don't have any perfect size, perfect shape, and I don't any single pair of jeans that has not been altered in some way. And that's what I realized I am. So when I came back home from Machu Picchu, I realized that everything that I had up until this point was all pretended. I was pretending to live in someone else's dream. I was pretending to follow someone else's expectation. And so I decided, I'm going to stop pretending who I am not. And instead, I am going to start to believe. And when I start to believe, what does that mean for me? It means that it's okay to cry for the hurt that we are experiencing. It's okay not to be in an intimate relationship. Instead, focusing on what other relationship and other connection that I can make. Instead, enjoying a cup of coffee with a good friend, have a free hug, giving out free hugs. So next time you see me, come and get your free hug. I started to believe that there is no one coming to save us. Um, and you have to start saving yourself. And the only way that you can do this is to face your worst enemy, your fear, head on. And I had to get out of my own way and start living. So there's something new that I started to believe ever since I decided to stop pretending. And since I'm really good at pretending this game, I pretended that one day, this is years from now, maybe at the end of this year, I would be standing on a big stage, and there's going to be 5,000 people sitting in the audience listening. And they have already gone through and listened to people like Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, Brene Brown. And here I am walking up to the stage, and they listened to me. I gave my speech, I did my thing, and then suddenly my eyes caught this person sitting in the audience among these 5,000 people. It was a woman, and she was crying. She was in her seat and she was crying. So, speaking on the stage will give me the means to inspire one person at a time. Vulnerability, my superpower. But we all know that superpower, when you have superpower, it also comes with great responsibility. So, inspiration will lead to change. And with this power, I need to share that with everyone. And the only way that I can share that with everyone is by speaking on the stage where 5,000 people. And the idea and the message I want you to walk away with from this is really we can all stop pretending. And what we need to do is start believing in. What do we need to believe? We need to start believing in ourselves. Believing the truth that we can tell ourselves, and stop pretending that the lie exists. So I believe that the world needs to hear from me. That's why I'm here, and this is my origin.